in many ways, William Wordsworth is the most stereotypical English romantic poet, despite the fact that he is, in many other ways, the odd man out. While so many of his contemporaries in that movement died very young, he lived to a very good, ripe old age. And while so many of them were also such rebellious characters, he lived to be the poet laureate of Britain, and he somewhat relished his ascension into the establishment, despite the fact that when he was younger he did have some difficult views, but they mellowed over time, as people tend to. But on the page, his writing in many ways characterizes the entire movement, and you can see so much of what we understand to be Romanticism coming out of those words. Now, some of that is just the fact that he was able to live so long. He did establish himself in many ways outside the narrow cloister of a movement, and but a lot of it is just that it fit him so well, and because of his particular genius, he was able to embody it in many, many ways. You can see it in many of his early lyrics, where he is a somewhat prototypical romantic poet about nature. Look at "I wandered lonely as a cloud." I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a cloud. I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle in the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon my inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. Now, this has a lot going on here. This is obviously very sort of a sing-songy, simplistic idea. He comes across some flowers and goes, "Aw," and it's a bouncy little rhyme, a very gentle rhythm, very much in the Blakean tradition of appealing to the childlike in all of us. But there are a couple of things that this poem, as simple as it is, that it cites that is very significant for the broader movement. And it comes mainly in that final stanza. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon my inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. Wordsworth is all about solitude. He loves solitude. He gets very anxious, apparently, when surrounded by too many other people. And that pose of being on his couch, presumably in his study, where he has been thinking and worrying about issues of the day or whatever, just the ordinary burdens of life, they start to bear down on him, the pressures and the stress and all of the stuff of life. And yet in his inward eyes, psychological, inward vision, he remembers that scene, that experience of nature, that simple experience of beauty, of a kind of divine presence on earth, and that gives him strength. That's what makes him, that's what allows him to get through the stress and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. He is now removed. He is writing this whole thing from memory. Memory is key. Memory is what Wordsworth is all about. He retains he retains images of perfection and beauty and inspiration for times that he is isolated from it. Another short piece that very significant. My heart leaps up. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So it was when my life began. So it is now I am a man. So it will be when I shall grow old, or let me die. The father is child of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Again, a simple, very, simple thing. That one line in there, or let me die, kind of stabs out from the middle of it and keeps it from being that nursery rhyme feel. But it's very simple. But that other one line, the child is father of the man, is a huge it's a huge notion within the Romantic movement. It's basically what Rousseau built his whole thing on. The child is father of the man. We need to respect children. Children become men. So traumas traumas that happened in childhood bequeath the identity of the adult. And here you have this very short little lyric that has a very pregnant notion within it. Child is father of the man. That and memory are probably the two most significant aspects of Wordsworth, and he develops them throughout his career. You can see it in We Are Seven. A simple child that lightly draws its breath and feels its life in every limb. What should it know of death? I met a little cottage girl. She was 8 years old, she said. Her hair was thick with many a curl that clustered round her head. She had a rustic woodland air, and she was wildly clad. Her eyes were fair and very fair. Her beauty made me glad. Sisters and brothers, little maid, how many may you be? How many? 7 in all, she said, and wondering looked at me. And where are they? I pray you tell. She answered, 7 are we, and 2 of us at Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea. 2 of us in the churchyard lie, my sister and my brother, and in the churchyard cottage I dwell near them with my mother. You say that 2 at Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea, yet ye are 7. I pray you tell, sweet maid, how this may be. Then did the little maid reply, 7 boys and girls are we, 2 of us are in the churchyard lie, beneath the churchyard tree. You run about, my little maid, your limbs they are alive. If 2 are in the churchyard laid, then ye are only 5. Their graves are green, they may be seen, the little maid replied, 12 steps or more from my mother's door, and they are side by side. My stockings there I often knit, my kerchief there I hem, and there upon the ground I sit and sing a song to them. And often after sunset, sir, when it is light and fair, I take my little porringer and eat my supper there. The first that died was Sister Jane, in bed she moaning lay, till God released her from her pain, and then she went away. So in the churchyard she was laid, and when the grass was dry, together round her grave we played, my brother John and I. And when the ground was white with snow, and I could run and slide, my brother John was forced to go, and he lies by her side. How many are you then, said I, if they too are in heaven? Quick, was the little maid's reply, oh, master, we are 7. But they are dead, those 2 are dead, their spirits are in heaven. 'twas throwing words away, for still the little maid would have her will, and said, nay, we are 7. Disturbing little ditty here. Again, somewhat sing-songy in its approach, but very dark in its content. This little girl who is identified as very rustic. She had a rustic woodland air. She is close to nature. She is ordinary. She is of the people. She is not sophisticated. All of these notions are very important. She considers her brother and sister who died to be still alive. They're still with her. She perhaps communes with their spirits in a way. She goes and plays near the grave, and she sees a spiritual presence that the narrator, the poet here, does not, and gets frustrated with her. And he's trying to nail down, well, no, like 2 + 2 and whatever, it's, 2 + 5 = 7, but you are 2 + 3. Or you are 7 - 2, so that equals 5. And he is trying to work it into very specific numerical terms. Logic. He's trying to use reason. And that just doesn't fly with the Romantics. He is getting irritated. He's getting frustrated. And he just can't deal with this for some reason. But it's because he's dealing with a child, and he doesn't understand her perspective. He doesn't understand that she has not yet been tainted necessarily by the kind of experience that that Blake dealt with. That sense that a simple child that lightly draws its breath and feels its life in every limb, what should it know of death? Does it really understand anything? Does it really does it misunderstand death? The little girl understands that they are, they're no longer here. They're dead. Their bodies are dead. But they are still presences in her life. They are still spiritual. And the spirit defies the material existence. The spirit defies experience, honestly. You get a kind of obliviousness in her character that absolutely flummoxes the narrator, but it's a sense that the spirituality is here with us all the time, which is very transcendentalist, very anti-deist. The notion that God, at least as a spirit, is always far away and has no particular exigency on Earth in today. That is deism, and this is a rejection of that, and saying, no, the spirituality is all around us, and we just have to see it. The little girl, the child, can see it, even if the adult can't. And she sticks to her guns in the face of his, harumphing, no, you're adding up the numbers wrong. In the face of that, she just says, no, we are. Absolute belief, against all evidence, against all reason. It's faith. She has it. The anti-materialist position, the position of memory, you can see that working through this. This is the man is once again recalling this incident with the girl, and he's dwelling on it, and he can't quite access what is special about her and what is special about her perspective. But you get the sense that he's still going over it, like it's frustrating him, like maybe there is something there and he will break through eventually. Maybe, who knows? But a lot of these same themes, again, they're indicative of Wordsworth's entire career, and again and again and again they come up, and sometimes in much more sophisticated forms, but they're always there. Composed upon Westminster Bridge, September 3rd, 1802. Earth has not anything to show more fair, dull would be of a soul who could pass by, a sight so touching in its majesty. This city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning, silent, bare, ships, towers, domes, theaters, and temples lie open unto the fields and to the sky. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air, never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendor rock, valley, rock, or hill. Ne'er saw I, never felt a calm so deep. The river glideth at its own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. Which is a beautiful little image. It's an image of the early morning and the early morning quiet, and who doesn't really like that? You get up and go out for a walk at dawn, and everything is so quiet and so peaceful, and it's remarkable. And it's even more remarkable when he's doing it in London. London is, busy, and the idea that there are even a few moments where crossing over the Thames, you could just sit and experience a sense of wonder in that wonderful area of Westminster Bridge where you can see pretty much the entire cityscape before you, and the Thames rolling down, snaking through down towards the English Channel. It's a spectacular view. But what is significant to me here is that what it lacks. He remarks on the smokeless air. Well, why would it be smokeless? Well, because during the day it's very smoky because of all of the pollution, all of the factories that are going up, all of the mills that are the dark satanic the dark satanic mills that are pumping black smoke into the air at all times. But what it lacks most of all, significantly, is people. Wordsworth picks out the few moments of the day where there seem to be no people there. He is a London resident at this time, and aside from, he's a sort of a country boy at heart, I guess you could say. He likes going over to the Lake region and spending time there with friends and family, specifically his sister. But he doesn't seem to really like people. He likes peace and quiet. He likes tranquility. He likes the ability to sit and think and reflect and have all of that without all this noise all over the place, all of these people bumping into him. London is a busy place. And this is a beautiful image, but one that is decidedly antisocial in its evocation. Same thing again, honestly, in The World is Too Much With Us. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours, we have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours are up and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn, so might I, standing in this pleasant lee, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. You see, the world is too much with us. There's too much noise. I don't think it's too difficult to imagine sometimes today, you know, every now and then you just have to, you know, turn off social media, turn off your phone, shut down the TV, just block it all out for a few minutes. And that's what this is. The world is too much with us. We need to make some space. We need to, for Wordsworth, have time to retreat to those mental spaces, those memories of daffodils and images of nature that restore us, that bring us solace and peace. He's not saying we all have to go to nature, but we need to have nature stored within our minds that we can access when we need to. Also significant here is the bottom half of it, where it gets a little bit strange and people don't like, what? Pagan? Triton? What? Proteus? The great god, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. That is yearning for a kind of old-time religion. Again, kind of like Blake, he has this this yearning for a religion that is more inherently spiritual, less rational. The polite tonations of the Church of England are perhaps leaving him a bit cold, and he's dreaming of something more inspiring that shows more of a turbulent hand of God in the world. I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. A pagan, an old-time God, not something so watered down. The gentrification is leaving him uninspired, so he wants excitement. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea. Proteus is the god, or the old mythic figure. Or hear Triton blow his wreathed horn. Something. Blowing a horn is a martial call, by the way, but this sense of just seeking something that can fight back against all of the world that is too much with us. To have something to believe in that really inspires, that brings out something natural and almost animalistic in you, something emotional, something that is more than just belief, something that is faith.